You've probably heard that honeybees need our help. A loss of habitat and food sources, as well as diseases and predators destroying many of them, has caused their populations to dwindle. And so they need our help. But so do our native bees that pollinate much of the food we eat, plants that provide fiber and medicine for us, and many other benefits. They need our help, and there are things we can do to help the native and honeybees in our environment. Plant flowers, things that bloom spring, summer, and fall to provide the food they need. Native plants whenever possible. They've evolved with these insects, which makes them very efficient and effective at providing the food and habitat they need. Leave those perennial stems stand for winter. Many of those hollow stems provide homes for bees and beneficial insects. Add some water, a shallow bird bath with sloping sides, or a shallow container with water. Just add a few stones so the bees can rest on the stones and lap up the water without taking a bath. And then don't forget about a puddle. Just create a shallow container with damp sand and then sprinkle some sea salt or wood ash over the surface. And then watch the bees gather. They'll lap up that mineral-rich water, a great opportunity for you to observe them while you're helping them out. And then we could help the cavity nesting bees by creating bee houses for them to move in and lay their eggs. And it's as simple as providing some tubes. In nature, they live in the cavities that insects and birds cause in our trees, so we're just going to mimic that when we make our bee house. You can buy tubes, nesting tubes like this. You'll probably have to order them online, or you can make your own. These are hollow stems from my purple coneflower and anise hyssop. I just cut them into different lengths, preferably 5 to 8 inches long. Make sure the hollow end is facing out. And I added a little black paint to make it more inviting for the cavity nesting bees. And then I just secured that bundle with a zip tie. You can also use stems from shrubs with hollow stems like elderberry, or these are from my sumac. I basically drilled through that soft pith, the stuff in the middle, to the right length so that they could go in, lay their eggs, and nest. Typically mason and leafcutter bees are the most common cavity nesting bees in our area, and I secured those with wire. You can also purchase paper straws, much better than plastic. The plastic stays a little too moist and humid and can cause some problems with the eggs and larvae. So purchase some paper straws, a very economical option. And I secured these with twine, or you can make your own. Just take cooking parchment paper or printer paper, wrap it around a pencil to create the tube. So once it's wrapped around, secure it with tape, and then remove that pencil, and you've got a nesting tube you made yourself from scrap paper. Now we're going to need a place to put all these nesting tubes for the bees to keep it nice and free from water and weather. I found this plastic container on sale, painted it, made it a little more attractive, and filled it with paper straws. And because I had enough, they're in there nice and tight, I don't need to do any more to secure them. I reduced the height a bit so that I had a little bit of a roof to further protect those straws from the weather. Now, I took a can, painted it, and I knew that I wouldn't have enough paper straws left to create and fill this whole thing with those paper tubes. So I'm going to take some white glue, put it on the bottom, just a layer, and that will help secure those tubes in place. Then I'll place the tubes into this can. Whoops. And you can see I still have some voids left. So I'm going to take the center from either a toilet paper roll or cut down one from a paper towel, and I'm going to fill in those voids with this cardboard center. And what's nice is it'll kind of form to the shape I need. That will help keep these tubes nice and secure because we don't want them rattling around as the bees do their nesting. So we're going to push that in there, make sure it's nice and tight. And then we've got our bee house ready to be mounted. We're going to place this on a sturdy fence post or structure. We want it to be nice and secure. facing southeast so the bees are warmed by that morning sun, at least 4 to 5 feet high. And if critters are in the area that threaten the bee eggs and larvae, at least 6 feet. And if you've got bears, you want it 8 feet high and preferably out of sight to keep the bears safe, bees, not the bears, safe. So we've got it mounted. Make sure there are flowers nearby. We want those bees to have plenty of food to eat. And then a mud puddle. Just a shallow container if there's not mud happening in that area, because the mason bees and other bees will use mud to seal off each individual egg and keep that egg and larva safe. They'll have their own bedroom to sprout and to hatch and grow. And so once we've got this in place, sit back and wait and watch to see who comes to visit. Please draw pictures or take photos of your bee house. I'd love to see them. And anybody that comes in and uses it for nesting, then share it at GrowSmart22, hashtag GrowSmart22, so others can see your bee house and the visitors as well. And be sure to check our activity sheet. There's tips on how to keep the bees safe throughout their breeding period and then in our cold winter. And once you release them and they hatch in spring, we want to make sure their new homes are nice and clean. The goal is to keep them healthy and support them. So we want to do the right thing. So again, share all your pictures and your photos and your ideas at hashtag GrowSmart22. I can't wait to see what everyone's doing to support our pollinators.